Hi, St. John. Pastor Mike and I wanted to share with you a little bit more about what we are learning at PLI, which is Pastoral Leadership Institute. We are in the middle of a 2.5 year commitment. Every 6 months, we go for an in-person event called an immersion, where we spend several days learning and growing and fellowshipping together with other leaders, mostly pastors and their wives, some teachers, and growing together in community. Thank you in advance for the ways that you have supported us during this. What we are learning is helpful for us, helpful for our family, and helpful for St. John. It's really something that we are all partnering together to work on. We set goals every time we go for the next 6 months, and in between times, we meet with small groups with coaches to work on our goals. So let's dig in a little bit to what we're learning. Our first immersion was all about leadership from within. So this really surprised me because I thought that we would be going and we'd be learning all of these things about how to lead, like how to lead a meeting and how to set up the structure of your church. And it actually wasn't anything like that at all. It was about using your gifts and talents and how those intersect with the needs of your community. So this is what they showed us, and this is helpful for yourself, your church, your community, your family. So we looked at 3 circles and where do they intersect. So it's your core, your capabilities, and your context. So your core is who I am. That can be your personality, your likes, your dislikes, your spiritual gifts. Your capabilities. What are those skills that you have? What do you bring to the table that maybe a lot of other people don't have, but those things that come so naturally and easily to you? And then your context is where you are. Your family, your personal, relationships and health issues and all of those things going on. And then where are you? What church are you in? What are your church's needs? What are your community's needs? So we looked at all of that. We set some goals just to give you a highlight. Mike's goals were to do less himself and more equipping of other people to help. So in this case, it was the tech team and working on the sound system, which he has done. Mine was to incorporate more discipleship into my business. And we are being trained that we lead up disciples who train other disciples. So making disciples who make disciples. And I have done that in numerous areas of my business. I've developed mentorships where when I lead different challenges, we have mentors and volunteers who come together with people and help them through the experience. And that's been really exciting to see. Our second immersion was the mission of God. And this is, where is God calling us specifically? We learned a lot. There was a lot of information during this immersion. Some of what we did was stop and start. So picture, it's 2026 and we are where? Where are we? Because in 2024, we stopped doing what? And we started doing something else. There's a lot to ponder in that. We do a stop and start now every time we meet for an immersion, and it's a great way to think about all kinds of different things, your personal goals, your family, your church, where do you want to be in a few years? It's going to mean stopping something so that you can make room in your life and starting something else. We also learned this model, which is used often in business and has been adapted for ministry. You can use it personally. So it's, where are opportunities on a continuum, that's at the top, all the way down to the bottom. What is a threat, or you could say a concern? And then moving left to right, where are the weaknesses and where are the strengths? So that ends up giving you 4 quadrants. So in the top left are the frustrations. These are the things where you have the opportunity, but you have weakness. So you might find that you want to do things, you see the opportunity, but you're kind of spinning your wheels because you don't perhaps have the skills or capabilities or finances or things like that that you need. Where are the breakthroughs? This is opportunity and strength. This is that sweet spot where things come together and you start to see things really work. Where are the battles? So this is where you personally have a strength, but something is holding you back. So maybe it's something in your situation or in your church or in your family where you're like, oh, I'm so close, but yet I've got this thing that's holding me back. And then finally, the last quadrant is, where are your failures? It's a weakness of yours and it's a problem. It's just that, you just feel like you're being hit on all sides. So the first time we did this, it was pretty challenging. There were tears as we were standing up and sharing, sometimes tears of frustration, sometimes tears of joy. And then it's been very interesting to see how God is working, because we see where things shift around and move when we get together 6 months later, sometimes because of our goals, sometimes other reasons or the ways that God is involved. So this is a great way to think about, like, where would we put our church right now? Where would you put yourself? What are some of the things that you would list? What would you put for your job or your family? So an interesting model for us to use. Our goals after the second immersion, Pastor Mike's, were to get outside of the church, to witness to others. We need to be around others besides other Christians. So he joined a Lego group, and that has been a great experience. My goal was to get to know some school families, and I have done that. I attended several events like the Trick or Trunk and some other school events. And then when the school families were here and the kids were singing, I put together some little treats so that I could get to know the kids and their families and handed those out after the service. And I will continue to do those things as well. Now, we just got home from the third immersion, which was leading through change, adaptive leadership. And oh my goodness, there is so much to talk about with this, because our world is changing so fast with technology, and we're in this post-COVID time, and things with ministry are changing. The way that church is valued in the world, the way people see religion. So this is definitely a very helpful topic as we move into 2024. So this was one of the things that they showed us, is for stages of change, you have an ending, which needs to be grieved. There needs to be space for that. There needs to be time. Even sometimes when it's an end that you chose, it's still difficult. It still involves loss. And so recognizing the loss. And then lots of times there are changes that we didn't want. And so we are grieving the loss of the ending. They did tell us something interesting. We sometimes say, oh, people don't like change, or Lutherans, they don't like change. But what they said is, people don't have a problem with change. They have a problem with loss. That's good to ponder. So we have our endings. Then there's this valley of chaos whenever things change. And, we think about like COVID as an example. We all were like, oh my goodness, what is going on? What on earth? Like, we just felt like we were in the fire. And then we have the new beginning, where good things are coming. And so it's always helpful to see where you are in this process, in your life, in your family, in ministry, in different parts of ministry. Where is something ending, or does it need to end? Where are we sort of in the valley of chaos, and where are those new beginnings coming? This was a great quote. In times of great change, learners inherit the future. The learned find themselves equipped for a world that no longer exists. So how can we be the learners, not just sitting back and thinking we're the learned? Again, in our lives, in our families, in our ministry, how can we continue to be learners and set the stage so that the people around us can be learners too? This is an interesting model. So we kind of just have built into our personality different ways that we handle change. And this is not a bad or good. This is just recognizing how our tendencies are. And it's important to note that anytime a change is going on, we need people all over this bell curve. And so it's not like, oh, well, we just need all the beginning. We want all. So my little circle here is covering this. I'll put it up here. I'm moving myself. Okay, so actually at the bottom are innovators. These are the people who have the ideas. They're always thinking of the great stuff. They're the out there visionary people who are like, oh, we could do this. Let's go do it. They're only 2%. They're small. Then the next group is the early adopters. And so those are the people who are like, okay, yeah, let's do it. I'll go. They're ready to go for it. They're ready to jump in and follow the innovator and follow the new idea. The next group is your early majority. So they're not going to go first. They're like, oh, watch and see how you do. But they're pretty quick. Like, okay, yeah, I can take that on. I'll figure it out. I'll go with the crowd. Then you have the late majority, and it's going to take them a while. They're going to come on, but it's going to take a little bit of seeing how things go. They feel a little concerned. And then the last group, it's only 16%, but they're the laggers. They're like, don't make me go there. You can't make me. And hopefully they will come along. And, sometimes people won't change at all. And those might be times that it's time to say goodbye. And that's okay. That it's okay if that's what happens. But a lot of times the laggers do become the late majority. It's interesting to note, too, that if you are in one particular group, you cannot influence people who are too far down the curve than you. So let's say you're an early adopter. That's great. You are ready to get in there and do the thing that the innovator shares with you. You are going to be a very strong and important influence for the early majority. But you can't really help the late majority and the laggers. Somebody else needs to reach out to them. So again, it's not good or bad. It's seeing where we are on this continuum and how can we help the group that's behind us to feel comfortable and safe as we move into this change. Okay, so our goals were for Pastor Mike, it was to be the chief repeater and show the mission overlap. So over and over, he wants to set the vision and to really look at our mission statement. Where are we already doing those key things and start to recognize where both the church and the school are coming together. So for example, worship, we talked about, yeah, we worship on Sunday morning, but the school worships too. They have chapel once a week. The kids worship in their classrooms. Where are those places where we're already together as one community living out this mission that we've set before us? And mine was rest and calm leadership. I want to lead, not chase. I want to lead from a place of rest. My business grew tremendously last year, and then this year has been really challenging. A lot of changes, and so I've learned that I've gotten somewhat out of balance personally, and one of my goals is to rest, to take Sabbath rest, and to move calmly and confidently forward. So that gives you some ideas of where we are with PLI. Thank you again for partnering with us, for supporting us. And now we want to invite you to come alongside us as we set some of these goals and make some of these changes and move forward together as one community. And we continue our learning with PLI, and we will continue to share that with you. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.